Hi, I'm Luke Darcy. Always great to be here, standing alongside Joe Stanley, Jacqui, Felgate, Dr. Nick Carr. Welcome, guys.
Hi, guys.
It is Therapy Dog Awareness Month right now, and what incredible animals they are, Joe.
Well, absolutely. And you know, just being around dogs has huge physical and mental health benefits. And science says so, right? So it must be right. It reduces anxiety and depression, improves motivation and mood, and brings people closer together.
I always think, is there anything a dog cannot do? There are guide dogs, allergy detection dogs, psychiatric service dogs, police dogs. The list goes on and on, Dr. Nick.
And all kinds of events are being held across Australia by organisations who raise and train these so special dogs.
And today, Dr. Nick, we find out why dogs and cats need regular dental checkups and having their teeth brushed as well. Do you brush Daisy's teeth, Joe, or not?
Tried once, failed. But today, she and I join a unique tour staged by dog lovers who are out to improve the food and treats that we feed our pups.
And like us humans, animals need a healthy planet too, which is something that a West Australian council is taking very seriously in an effort to clean up the environment.
And coming up, we meet the well-known Australian influencer Tully Smyth, who's using her considerable profile to make people more aware of mental health and dementia.
Jack, you listed off some of the therapy dogs that perform incredible duties in our community. One that wasn't on the list is Poppy. I love this story. Specially trained court dog. It's a beautiful, gentle black lab that gives support to families when they need it most. Have a look at this.
Silence or stand.
In the Federal Circuit and Family Court of Australia, we're generally dealing with ordinary people, not heroes or villains. They're just people who are going through a pretty difficult stage in their lives.
Calling a matter of moral.
There's a lot of grief always associated with relationship breakup, and we try and assist them and support them through that process as quickly and effectively as possible.
I swear by Almighty God.
Engaging in legal proceedings can be an overwhelmingly stressful experience. But this year, the anxiety of the courtroom has been eased for many Victorians thanks to the newest member of staff at Melbourne's Family Court.
Poppy is a fully trained facility dog, so she began her career with Guide Dogs Victoria, and they recognised that her temperament was possibly going to be better suited to being a therapy dog, so they career changed her to work within the environments of a court.
3 days a week, Court Engagement Officer Hilary Bunkin accompanies Poppy to the courtroom, where she's been trained to act as a calming, furry friend to anxious witnesses appearing before the court.
When they move into the witness box and take their oath, I will take Poppy and settle her on the floor. They have her there to pat, and quite often, sometimes I've seen people bury their toes in her rug or put their feet on her back, just to have that sort of warmth and security and support there, that unquestioning support.
So the next step, I don't think we had any understanding or expectation of what an extraordinary impact Poppy would make.
My family lives in a...
Over the course of a day, she can turn a timid, reticent party into an extraordinary narrator.
My room is next to his room.
She provides people with the confidence to really tell their story and the comfort to be able to do it in a way that is authentic to them.
And I moved out at some point to live with my partner.
She looks as if she's asleep, but if you know her well, you'll see that quite often she's actually monitoring the situation the entire time. So she will get up and move around. Sometimes when somebody is exhibiting quite high levels of anxiety, she's maybe trying to distract them. She will put her paw sometimes on their knee or her head on their knee, just to basically say, I'm here.
I recall an occasion when Poppy made a significant difference where we had a person who was acting for themselves in court and they became very upset as they were explaining to me their story. We called Poppy in, and initially that person actually, when they saw Poppy, became even more upset. Actually seeing a dog and the emotional connectedness to Poppy made that person more upset, to the point where I actually had to adjourn the court briefly. But then within a few minutes, the person had recovered enough that they and Poppy were doing tricks together and Poppy was getting fed treats. So amazingly, I was able to reconvene court. That person was able to tell me the rest of their story very articulately, very assuredly. We were able to complete the matter. They were final orders, so everyone was able to go and get on with their lives. She made all the difference.
Melbourne's Family Court was the first in Australia to bring a canine colleague on board, with Hobart recently following its lead. And given the enthusiasm for Poppy, a dog in the courtroom could soon become the new normal.
She's a very important part of the court, and I would absolutely advocate for the importance of having members like Poppy being a part of any courtroom process.
Oh, how adorable is Poppy, Nick? And aren't dogs amazing? They give us so much, and all they want in return is a little bit of love.
Well, plus maybe some treats, some toys, and, of course, a good long walk, which means letting them sniff everything and anything on the way.
Oh, absolutely. Someone said to me once, it is not your walk, it's the dog's walk. So let them stop and sniff and take as long as they need. And I tell you what, our Labrador, Daisy, she can take 30 minutes just to get to the end of our street, and that's okay.
Yeah, and so she should, because sniffing is how dogs make sense of their environment, and it's absolutely crucial to their well-being. So, you know, if you stop a dog sniffing when you're walking, you're just negating all the benefits.
Yes, so the next time you take Bluey around the corner, make sure you let them stop and smell the roses. And especially important if you live in the city or you have an anxious dog.
And while you're at it, take a nice deep breath. Doesn't that feel better?
Oh, so lovely.
Back after this.
Next time, we're hearing a lot more about microplastics. They are literally being found everywhere in our food, in our water, in our body, including the lungs and the brains.
Yeah, microplastics are just tiny little plastic particles defined as less than 5 millimetres. And they come from commercial products, things like clothing and cosmetics, and also the breakdown of larger plastics. We're just beginning to understand what the effect is on the health of not just us humans, but every animal in the environment.
And Nick, the same goes for PFAs, the human-made chemicals that are found in a heap of consumer products, from fabrics, food wrappers, non-stick pans, even the water in our kitchen taps.
Yeah, we know that these so-called forever chemicals are implicated in diseases like diabetes and cancer. So really bad news, but finally some good news, because there's a Swiss company which has found a way to break down these chemical nasties and make them less dangerous. And with new regulations, and including even bans in some countries here and overseas.
Yeah, and it's bringing people together in unique ways to try and find a solution to these tragic chemicals that are causing so many issues, including in WA, where one local council is cleaning up its own backyard and the planet at the same time.
She's looking pretty full there, Peter's about 120 kilos probably in that.
Believe it or not, these drainage nets bursting with plastics and debris have caused a social media ruckus.
They're collecting everything from rubbish, bottles, debris, any sorts of rubbish that really can fit down a drain is what's going in there. Since 2018, we've collected 7.5 tonnes of rubbish in the 5 nets we have across the district.
Not only is Mayor Peter Feasey thrilled about the amount of waste saved from polluting the local area, it shone a spotlight on the city of Kwinana in WA, where the nets became an internet sensation.
In 2018, an environmental activist in another country shared the post that we had on our Facebook page, and it went viral. The Mayor of the Day was on many news outlets across the world talking about this simple solution to collect rubbish.
And we've caught quite a bit of rubbish. We get needles in there, which keeps the place safe because we get a lot of kids in here on bikes and so forth.
EcoSol NetTech is Aussie designed and manufactured, an innovation that was snapped up by Kwinana Council as a trial to solve their waste problem. And it worked. They've now rolled out more nets that have captured over 200,000 plastic bottles, all thanks to the simple principle of catching rubbish before it hits the waterways.
So I think the fact that it is such a simple concept that you put something over the end of the pipe to collect the rubbish, why no one had thought of it up until now?
So we'll empty that into the back of the truck, put it back together and start again.
But it doesn't stop there. The council is on a sustainability mission driven by fostering the creativity of Kwinana's staff. No idea is off the table.
12 of our facilities are generated from wind farms in the southwest. A number of our facilities have solar panels on them, one of which is our swimming pool, which is one of the highest energy users within the city.
Along with the city's parks and gardens that are maintained by a fully electric operation, a concept developed by Technical Officer Felix Luter, his initiative has inspired other WA councils that are now following suit.
All the tools we're running on the truck are chainsaws, brush cutters, hedgers, all the equipment you could think of that a gardener needs. And all those tools are powered by batteries. They are charged by the truck, which is charged by the solar panels. I can't believe that I had the opportunity to do something that's not in my role description. Unbelievable.
Which goes to show that casting the net wide often results in the very best ideas. Darcy, we've all heard of the 5 love languages, and among them are quality time, gifts, acts of service and personal touch. For me, my #1 language is quality time. I have none of it.
Yeah, good point. The 5th one is also words of affirmation, Jack, and I'm a big believer in the power of words, and simply giving someone some words of encouragement can literally change their life.
I agree, and there's this really interesting study out of the US that looked at phrases people love to hear, and they were, I believe in you, I'm proud of you, and you've got this. And when they changed the settings, so when they went, what do people like to hear in the home, the #1 phrase was, I love you.
And Jack, we overlook that, don't we? Saying to someone, you've done a good job, I really value you, thanks for the work that you do. It doesn't cost you anything. It's something that's so easy to celebrate someone else, but as we said, incredibly powerful at the same time.
I think we all need to be kinder to ourselves and look at the great things we do rather than be so critical. So here's Luke Hines with some positive affirmation that's more than just skin deep.
If the eyes are the windows to the soul, then surely the skin is the storyteller of our inner well-being. But how can we best reflect this inner beauty when our facial muscles are unaccustomed to moving beyond our everyday expressions? Consider the transformative power of facial massage, which can unlock the secrets to a radiant complexion from the inside to out.
So I've gone really through warming up your skin. I'm now going into the cardio part of it. So you'll really start to feel your blood circulation boost. You'll feel a real zing within your cheeks. This is also lifting and sculpting those beautiful zygomatic muscles that run right through under your cheekbones here. People don't really know much at all about the facial muscles or which way they go or how they work and things like that. So I'm really working with the 43 muscles throughout the face. We're boosting your blood, we're oxygenating the skin, we're boosting your collagen and your elastin. So it's not just your skin that looks beautiful at the end of the facial, your whole facial structure has lifted and changed as well. So that really gentle little tap, I like to say to clients, it's like little ballerina's feet dancing along your jawline. The way that I work, it's almost like I'm channeling something else a lot of the time, and I don't know often where it's coming from. I just know that I have to do certain things to certain clients. It's not everyone. I meet you where your energy is at on the day, if that makes sense. So some people will come and they'll just have a facial and their skin will look incredible, will get their cheekbones nice and high, and others will come and they have quite an intense healing experience. And all around here, I'm stimulating and boosting all of your lymph nodes that run right under your jaw here. I found when I was pregnant with my second daughter that my facials started to become more and more powerful, and I started to see quite big shifts and changes emotionally with clients. They would come out crying, but in a good way, because I could feel that I was shifting deep emotions that were stuck within the muscles of the face. We hold so much within our face, so it's really getting that flow happening through the skin and out of the body.
There's no doubt you're going to be using beautiful products on the external part of our skin, but what are you trying to touch, move or shift internally?
Internally, it's more just moving any blocked energy that's in the body. And it's more about bringing your head back into your body. So I'm all about the flow of how I do things. So bringing that flow from your head back through down to your neck, through to your shoulders.
Is your treatment a massage or a facial?
I would say it It's a real mixture of both. I know that my clients come to me because the massage that I do isn't like anything else that they've had before, but I think it goes so much deeper than that. I always say to clients, think of your face like a really dirty, stagnant pond, and I am opening up big floodgates and we're getting beautiful, fresh, crystal clear water flowing through the pond, and that's what happens with your lymphatic within your face. So your skin's so much brighter. You'll see the effects from a facial that you have with me for a good few weeks because we're clearing out all that stagnant build-up within the skin.
We lift weights to tone and lift our body muscles. Is this a similar concept?
It's similar in the way that it is going to tighten them, but not similar in the way, I think someone years ago was like, what do you do? But I don't want the muscles on my face to be huge. And I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. It's just going to make them nice and tight and strong. You're all done, Luke.
Thank you. If I'm totally honest, I've never really been into the idea of facials. I've always thought they were a little bit fluffy and all about the external. But right now, I feel an incredible shift, not just on the outside, but on the inside too. That was deeply relaxing, and I felt like I went to a really beautiful place of peace. But genuinely, my skin and my face feels completely different. I feel both relaxed but activated. I feel alive and engaged. And for me, when I do a treatment, I want it to be functional. I want it to change me. I want it to make me a better person inside and out. And today did just that. So if you are wanting to look and feel your absolute best, you have got to give this a go.
Still to come, why our pets also need their teeth brushed every day. Plus, we reveal the best foods to keep our best buddies healthy. That's next on the House of Wellness. Well, Jay, you know how we ask all the important questions here on House of Wellness, so here's one for you. Do you brush your dog Daisy's teeth?
Oh, well, I did try it once, and I ended up completely covered in toothpaste, and her breath still absolutely stank. So I don't think it was particularly successful.
Well, Pet Dental Health Month has just wrapped up, and one of their main messages is that everybody should be brushing their dog's teeth every single day, which, to me, just sounds a little bit... I mean, Sam and Rosie, they're 12 years old. I've never brushed their teeth once.
Well, I think vets are probably very disappointed in us because apparently only 2% of pet owners brush their teeth daily, and, yeah, I'm guilty of this.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to know I'm in one of the 98%, but, you know, it kind of makes sense because they've got teeth, so they get gum disease and tartar. So, you know, maybe we should be brushing after all. I don't know.
Well, vets say that 70% of cats or dogs suffer some kind of dental disease within the first 3 years of their life. And so, of course, what's really important is that we clean their teeth and we also feed our dogs a nutritious diet. And so Daisy and I went along to a very special dog lovers tour, which is all about exactly that. You have spent a lot of time making them very beautiful. I mean, they're naturally beautiful anyway, but what's your thinking behind this incredible effort that you go to here?
It's a bit of stimulation type training and so forth. They enjoy meeting and greeting people. They can particularly wear outfits, especially because they're the long hair. And being out and about, it just brings a lot of joy and a lot of smiles to people's faces.
As you can see, Indy and Maggie aren't your average canines. They drive an Audi. They don't mind dressing up, and they don't have a food obsession that often comes with other breeds. Not mentioning any names, but you do know I mean Labradors. Come on, Daisy, come. My beautiful lab Daisy is, well, let's just say she loves her food. And while I can't resist loading her up with special treats, maybe more than I should, I'm keen to meet 3 health-conscious dog owners who've created some nutritious alternatives.
We call it a bath diet, which stands for biologically appropriate raw feeding. So if you think about it, what's biologically appropriate for dogs is actually meat, bones, offal, fresh food, rather than an ultra-processed diet of kibble.
Kate Opitz is a vet nurse who revised her thinking about what she was feeding her boxer Lulu, who had some health issues. She got results from raw food, which forms the basis of her ready-made meals packed with all the goodies dogs need to thrive. So what sort of benefits do we see from a raw food diet?
Everything. Food is everything, like better, shiny, healthy coat, better skin, their breath doesn't smell, really good for their teeth.
And for people who feed their dogs kibble, are we suggesting that, and by the way I do, are we suggesting that that doesn't cover their needs nutritionally?
It's not necessarily that it doesn't cover their needs nutritionally. It's more, if you try to look at it from, I sort of say kibble is like having Macca's for dinner.
What's this? Daisy loves her kibbles, so perhaps I need to rethink the raw diet angle.
Here you go.
But right now, all Daisy is interested in is eating, and she's having no trouble devouring these pumpkin veggie puffs. Well, she probably thinks they're potato chips. Just wait till she finds out there's ice cream on the menu too.
It's all about creating a moment between you and your dog, being able to feed your dog an ice cream treat that's not bad for them and upsets their tummy, so it's been specially formulated just for dogs. Pop the lid off, give it straight to your dog, and you're just having a special moment with your dog.
So it's actually ice cream?
Yep, it's actually ice cream. It's made in commercial human ice cream machines.
Olivia Hassan is an animal welfare officer. She watched her pet struggle with his health, which inspired her mission to revolutionise dog treats. And she's gone high-end, creating a premium dog ice cream packed with gut-calming goodness.
So the base ingredient is goat's milk for everyone, and the sorts of flavours we've got our classics range. So we've got a blueberry peanut butter, Rocky Road, banana split, and a strawberry dreams. All the ingredients in there is human-grade ingredients. You can technically have the ice cream, but it's a little bit sour. There's no sugar in there, so if that's how you like the ice cream, then sure, you can try it.
This has got to be every dog's dream, a degustation for dogs of the nutritious kind, which is what's attracted so many pets and their owners to the Rolling Bones Dog Festival.
What's this, Daisy? What's this?
We love our animals and events like these that help spread awareness on nutritious and wholesome food options.
Cheers, Daisy.
2 years ago, we put together a range of supplements that target the common ailments that dogs suffer, and that's from anxiety to gut health to immune support and mobility issues. So a lot of our supplements are all anti-inflammatory, all natural, with no fillers at all.
When vet nurse Ada Hornack's puppy Archie was prescribed anti-anxiety meds, his health declined. It was enough to motivate her to start a pet supplement business. A lot of breeds come with predisposed conditions genetically. Is this the sort of thing that a supplement can help with?
Absolutely, because we truly believe in prevention's better than cure. So if you've got breeds that are larger breeds, like Labradors and Golden Retrievers and Border Collies, they tend to have issues later on in life with mobility because of their size. So we always suggest that they get onto the supplements and the good food, anti-inflammatory foods, by the time they're 2 years old.
I've been lucky with Daisy so far. No joint issues, just the I'll eat anything gene, which is something that Beck Steele will never have to worry about with her tiny ball of canine fluff. Beck, please tell me, who is this little treasure?
This is Penny. She's a Pomeranian puppy.
How old is Penny?
She's 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah, she's really tiny.
She looks like a newborn. How big is Penny likely to grow?
Not much bigger than this.
Wow.
They usually reach their full size by about 8 months. And then after that, it's just kind of filling out.
Sorry. I trust you got that. Oh my gosh, Nick, Daisy, I cannot take her anywhere.
I reckon she's so gorgeous, you absolutely can take her wherever you like. But back to dental health, because we know if your animal's teeth are decaying, then it can have side effects also on things like heart and kidneys. So I think the vets have actually got that one right. And the problem is it's not just the animals, because our dental health is slipping as well. Because it turns out that in Victoria, just in the last few months, there's been a 36% increase in fillings.
And that number was even higher for kids. Poor brushing and flossing is a part of it, but also not having regular checkups.
Yeah, and you're right about that one, Joe, because there's a survey which showed that 41% of Victorians in the last year admit to missing appointments, and that includes dental. And it's really important because our dental health, just like the animals, can affect organs like the heart. So we must pay attention to that.
Well, from caring for our teeth to what's known as the window to our soul, of course, our eyes need a little bit of TLC as well, especially if you wear contact lenses.
We can't eliminate it from our environment, but what we can do is give people information about it and try to avoid getting exposure to it.
Acanthamoeba is an organism found in waters that can cause serious infections for contact wearers.
Around 20% of the patients that get acanthamoeba report that they have been swimming or showering in the contact lenses.
According to Associate Professor Nicole Carnt, the organism is found in 1/3 of the bathroom taps in Greater Sydney.
The contact lens acts like a vector for the organism, so it can attach to the contact lens and then it's placed on the eye and it's in contact with the eye for a longer period of time, so it has more of a chance to cause an infection rather than if you don't wear a contact lens and you're blinking the organisms out of your eye.
Acanthamoeba keratitis, or AK, is a devastating infection and can be very severe. Unlike most infections on the cornea that only last for 3 or 4 weeks, AK can last for up to a year. Symptoms like watery eye, light sensitivity, redness and eye pain can be inconsistent, making it tricky to diagnose.
If it's being treated or the body's immune system is attacking it, it can ball itself up into this cyst and stay dormant in the eye and then reactivate when the conditions are more favourable. What people can find is that they're okay one day and then the next day, with an increase in the inflammation, they might be having trouble with walking through the door because they lose their depth perception because of the inflammation in the eye.
AK is resistant to most antibiotics and antivirals. It is treatable, but for those who wear contact lenses, the best way to deal with it is to prevent it from happening in the first place.
It is very important that we consider the contact lenses as a medical device and it needs to be disinfected before it's placed onto the eye. We also can transfer bacteria and other organisms from our hands onto the lenses, so it's important that we do hand washing and drying before we handle the lenses. When we take them out of the eye after we have worn them, we need to give them a clean to remove any debris that might have built up on the lenses and then disinfect them in a solution that will kill some of the organisms that might have been on the lens during that time.
Tablets are compressed powders, whereas a capsule has a medication enclosed in an outer shell. They're both effective ways of delivering a medication, but they do have their differences. Tablets are long-lasting, durable, cheap to make, and can be cut if you need to halve the dose, but they do take longer to work and could be more likely to cause irritation. Capsules, on the other hand, are faster acting and have a quicker rate of absorption, but they can be more expensive and you can't split a capsule. In short, they're very similar. A drug company will end up choosing what's most effective for their drug. If you do have a choice, it comes down to personal preference. It may be easier to swallow a capsule. We don't want to rely on them, but let's face it, sometimes painkillers like paracetamol and ibuprofen are a necessity. Even if you don't have hay fever, antihistamines can be helpful for minor allergies, like an itch or rash. Hydrocortisone cream can help with itching from rashes or insect bites. And if you're an asthmatic, a puffer will help save lives. I think everyone should have a first aid kit. What's in it depends on where it's kept. So your kit for camping might be different to the one at home, but there are a few universal must-haves. Crepe and snake bandages, wound dressings, swabs and disposable gloves, scissors and tweezers. A CPR card to remind you of the process in case of emergencies, burn cream, and probably the most used item, Band-Aids.
Thanks to Naomi Perry, House of Wellness pharmacist there, who is now living the life in sunny WA. Lucky her. Well, it is September, which is one of my favourite times of the year. It's, of course, the start of spring, and it is the start of a fantastic initiative. We're talking about Liptember.
Yes, Jo. So Liptember is all about putting on your favourite shade of lipstick to raise awareness for women's mental health. It's been going since 2010 and you've been an ambassador, Jo.
I have, and I was very proud to be so. What has started as a very small fundraiser has now raised over $15 million. And yes, it shines a light on women's mental health in a way that really was lacking before.
And next week is also Dementia Awareness Week. 420,000 Australians currently have dementia, and that number is expected to triple globally by 2050.
So keeping our minds and bodies active is one of the best defences. And interestingly, of the 14 known risk factors, number one is having poor education as a kid.
And Jo, you know, I think a lot of people, when it comes to dementia, consider it to be an old person's disease, and that's just not the case. And that's why Big Brother star and influencer Tully Smyth is using her considerable profile to raise awareness now.
Tully, you are one of the original social influencers before the term even existed. What was your first memory of beauty?
My first memory of beauty was being taken around Grace Brothers, so the old Maya, around the makeup counter. My mum used to spend so much money on makeup and would get in trouble by Dad, but she always loved Clarins and she always smelled of the Clarins hand cream. Yeah, so that was just sort of being taken around the beauty counters at Grace Brothers.
You've been so brave to share your story of your mum, Kay, and her journey with dementia. I guess what I wanted to ask was, what made you share that with your followers?
I mean, growing up, it was kind of this dirty little secret. You know, I felt embarrassed about what was happening at home behind the scenes. And I think when I did Big Brother and I suddenly had this huge social media platform, I wanted to use that platform for good. And I basically just wanted to raise awareness for something that we don't really talk about enough.
And how did your followers respond to you sharing that?
It's actually heartbreaking how many of my followers are actually currently dealing with dementia, either their mum or their grandparent. It blew me away. There are so many out there that feel alone. I mean, I'm currently working with Dementia Support Australia to create a support network to help those people connect, to find information, to find their community. I'm only one person, and as much as I love reaching out, connecting to people that reach out to me, I can only do so much. So I'm really hoping to create a support network to make those people feel less alone.
While we're talking about your beautiful mum, Kay, I'm sure that there has to be at least one beauty ritual that you've inherited from her.
Do you know what? She was so stern on always moisturising your neck and your hands. I will never forget, she said that's the first place that you show signs of ageing. So I'm so careful to moisturise the backs of my hands and down my décolletage onto my neck.
You've had artists do your makeup, you've done it yourself. What is one tip that you would just love to master?
Concealer. I feel like I'm carrying so many extra kgs of baggage under these eyes, and no matter what product I use, how much, how little, I just feel like they're never fully concealed. Like they really stand out to me. So concealer, if you have any concealer tips for me.
Up in this area here, I know a lot of people suffer with like shadows, darkness, can even be a little puffy. So often we reach for the concealer, pop a few dots on and hope for the best. And the best doesn't happen. So I'm here to introduce you to another step, which is to colour correct. This area is normally purpley, bluey, so we reach for, on the colour wheel, the opposite. So something of this shade, like an orangey, pinky kind of tone. What I'm going to use today is just a lipstick that is more coral tone. We're going to place it quite densely and heavily around that shadow. So after you've added the warmer peachy tone, I'm going to go in, I'm using here an MCO concealer, just going to add it like this. I like to use the warmth of your finger because what happens is it helps blend it without it creasing. And wow, what a difference it is with adding the concealer over that peach undertone because we're correcting and covering. Thanks so much for today, Tully. It was actually an honour having you on. And above all, thank you for being brave enough for sharing your story about your mum and dementia. It needs to be discussed way more. It's meant a lot and I know people at home will really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jade.
Thank you.
Most people have no idea that deep in our cells is an engine room that keeps us all energised. This powerhouse is called the mitochondria. It's responsible for taking the food we digest and converting it into energy, which our organs and bodies require for physical output. Ubiquinol is the spark plug for this engine, powering the mitochondria. A potent lipid-soluble antioxidant found naturally in every cell of the body. Ubiquinol helps support cardiovascular health and function, as well as blood vessel health. It also maintains heart health, healthy LDL cholesterol levels in healthy people, plus energy production. With an average of 150,000 heartbeats per day, a steady supply of energy via ubiquinol within the mitochondria is key for overall cardiovascular health. From around the age of 30, the body's production of ubiquinol begins to wane, causing natural levels to decline. Lifestyle factors also contribute, such as stress and lack of sleep. This may lead to less efficient functioning of the cells and higher exposure to oxidative stress, impacting this important energy production. Ubiquinol can be found in food sources, but in order to have 100 milligram of ubiquinol needed to create the energy to power our cells, we would need to eat 50 cups of spinach, 34 chicken breasts, 20 steaks, 60 avocados, and much more. It can certainly be tricky trying to understand every process happening in our body. So don't hesitate to chat to a healthcare professional. They have all the knowledge of ubiquinol and how it affects your personal health circumstances.
Dr. Nick, we get so much goodness from the foods that we eat, but then there are the wrong kinds of food, those that cause food poisoning.
Yeah, and not just for us, Jack, but also for animals, because you know that principle, you have something dodgy, an oyster or a bit of chicken, you can't eat it for ages? Well, they're applying that to trying to save crocodiles in Northern Territory.
Yeah, so these crocs were dying at an alarming rate from eating a poisonous toad that was introduced into Australia around 100 years ago. So rangers are now feeding the crocs the dead toad that's been modified to cause food poisoning.
So the idea is just like dodgy foods put us off something for ages, the crocs will be put off eating the live toads, which are the ones that cause all the damage. And you know what? Seems to be working, because the mortality rate of those crocodiles has dropped an astonishing 95% already.
Amazing. All right, let's change the topic and the menu. Here's Zoe with a delicious soup that will soothe the stomach instead.
Soup shouldn't be exclusive to winter. It's comforting, hydrating, and easy on the stomach. But the thing that makes my cashew and cauliflower soup a win for all seasons is the taste. I'm sautéing garlic and leek first up, creating succulence with a crisp exterior. Cauliflower has a mild, slightly nutty flavour, complementing the warm earthiness of turmeric. Mix for 4 to 5 minutes until slightly brown. Adding vegetable stock gives the soup a rich, savoury taste, but can be substituted with a mix of miso paste and boiling water. Watch the cauliflower. You want tenderness, not sogginess. Reduce the heat and pour in the coconut milk to thicken and for that extra creaminess. I've pre-soaked the cashews overnight so they easily absorb the soup flavourings and avoids any gritty textures. Plus, they deliver a hit of magnesium, which plays a role in over 300 processes in the body. Last step, puree the soup to your liking. My preference is a smooth, luxurious consistency. The ultimate contrast with the toppings, crushed nuts and chives. Say what you want about soup, but it truly embodies all the best elements of home cooking. Creativity, aroma, nutrition. Simply superb. Get Nourished is brought to you by Go Healthy. Support nervous system health and muscle function with the Go Magnesium range. It feels good to go healthy.
It's been about our four-legged friends today, along with a few scaly ones, including our iconic northern crocodiles.
Well, here's a couple of fun facts, considering everything has been about animals. Now, Jo, you have a dog and 2 cats, is it?
Yes.
Well, Japan, there are about a dozen cat islands, places where the number of cats significantly outnumber the people.
No, I would love that place.
I would hate that.
I would love it so much.
And if you've ever wondered why cats' eyes can see so well at night, it's due to what's called the tapetum lucidum, a structure that reflects the visible light back through the retina, so it kind of sees everything twice. And also what causes the eyes' weird kind of glowing effect in the night.
I always thought that seals and sea lions are the dogs of the sea. They look and even behave in the same ways. When you think about it, seals are really just like dogs with flippers for life.
Well, the two actually are distantly related to us. I mean, they're both mammals. They both have fur. They feed milk to their young. And the big difference, of course, is that the dogs, they're on land, but my dog's always in the water, whereas seals, sea lions are perfectly adapted to ocean life.
And this is why Dr. Nick conservationists here have recruited sea lions to help map previously uncharted Australian waters and the ocean floor. How amazing is this? They've fitted a group with cameras and trackers off the coast of South Australia to give us hopefully some insight into what lies beneath.
It's such a great idea. After 6 days, the researchers were treated to a first-time look at the gorgeous and very fast creatures' favourite hunting grounds, along with some new reefs and seabeds they hadn't seen before.
Brilliant idea. I love it, Jo. That's our show for today. Thank you to Jo, to Jack and to Dr. Nick Carr. It's been great as always.
Of course, tune in to House of Wellness Radio this Sunday with Luke Hines and Gerald Quickly.
And thanks to our great friends at Chemist Warehouse, it's bye for now.